Hello and welcome to the third in the Battle of Britain trilogy, which is a Messerschmitt Bf 109. If you have a look, I've not finished it yet. In fact, it's only really about halfway through. As you can see, there's still lots and lots of detail work to do, a lot of smoothing, a lot of basic organisation, and just a lot of work, really. But what I thought I'd do is to split this work in progress into two parts. So you can see a lot more of the early work, because usually when I edit these work in progresses, I tend to get rid of a lot of the early stuff and then just show you the later stuff. So this is like a halfway work in progress. So anyway, here's the story so far, and then we'll catch up at the end of it. Okay, so here goes. White canvas, blank canvas. It's always a bit of a scary start, but all you've got to do is mix some paint up and stick it on. So here we go. The first paint on Battle of Britain number 3. Like I say, I want it to be quite a rich, rich saturated sky. So I'm just putting this on. It's not so thick. I mean, with these acrylic paints, you need to put at least 3 coats for any sky. There's no point trying to put it all on in one go, because it just won't stick very well. So here we are, 3 coats later. If you have a look, really what I've done is just put 3 layers of paint on, establish where the horizon is. I've left this area down here because this is always going to be cloud, because if you look at the sketch, I've got the bomber formation down here, and that's always going to be where they are down there. So if I put some white cloud behind, they'll be a lot easier to see. So that area is always going to be white. And looking at the rest of the picture, if you look at the sketch up here again, this area here is where I can play with the cloud. This is going to be clear. This is going to be fields and possibly London down here, a few clouds in the distance. So it's this hole here where I can have a bit of fun. So if you have a look on the actual picture itself, you can see I've started to play with the cloud. Now what I'm doing is just playing with it, just trying to work out a cloud formation. And what I'm thinking of is, because we're high altitude with these aircraft contrailing, what I'm thinking, I love the days when you have lots of different layers of cloud. So what I'm thinking of is having a lower layer of cloud bubbling up, and then breaking possibly through this higher, flatter level, which is here. So I'm trying to get the impression of these clouds catching the light, which is over to the left, and just the tops of them getting the light, sketching in the clouds roughly. And I've also sketched in these vapor trails roughly, these, because I think it's important to have those in so that I can position the aeroplane quite right. So I've put as much as I want to in at the moment. Now it's time to get the aeroplane in. I've suggested a bit of detail down on the ground just to give me a bit of a guide. But yeah, now it's time for the exciting bit, which is putting the aeroplane on. So I'll show you a little bit how I do that. The great thing about doing it this way, what I used to do, I used to project them onto the canvas and then obviously trace it on. But the problem with projecting is, once you've done it, it's there, and when you start painting everything in and you start to paint over, you change the background or something, then you lose your projection. Which means you've got to set your projector up again, and you've got to get it in exactly the right place. And usually I can't be bothered to do that. So tracing it this way is great, because what you can do, you can put it on, draw it on the canvas, and then once you've painted over it because you've changed the background, you can put this back on much easier than setting up a projector again. So I tend to use this method now. And so the important thing about this is, of course, is that you can position the aeroplane in exactly the position. The positions of the aircraft are very, very important. You need to get it in exactly the right place, otherwise the balance is slightly off, or they look like they're pitching or yawing a bit. So it's really important. There's no way you could freehand sketch an ME109 this big and get it right first time in the right position. I mean, I could draw a 109 reasonably accurately, but I'd probably have it a little bit too far to the left, and then I'd have to rub it out and start again. So doing it this way, very handy, very useful, and it saves a lot of time. So, the question is, where do I stick it? Well, you're looking at my sketch, the tail is just above the horizon. I need the tail to break the horizon a bit. The angle of bank needs to be, yeah, kind of about there. So I think I'll stick it round about there. It's very difficult to work this out when there's only one aeroplane on, because obviously this has got to balance the Spitfire that's coming over here. I think that's about right, but I might just play with it a bit more off camera, because this could take a long time just to get it exactly right. There's so many paintings where I've put the aeroplane on, painted it in, and then about, I don't know, 3 days later think, it's in the wrong place. So it's worth taking a bit of time on this. So as soon as I've done that, I'll roughly, and the way I trace it is literally just put the pencil underneath and just go around it. It's not very accurate, but it's good enough for what I need. As soon as I've done that, I will block the aircraft in. About an hour later, I've drawn the aeroplane on and I've just blocked it in, just very roughly. There's no light on it yet, no light and shadow, just basic colours to give me the presence of the aeroplane. So, okay, that'll do. As you can see from here, I've added the Spitfire over here. I needed that to give me an idea of how it's all going to balance, and I've worked on the 109. And I've removed these two trails that were here and put them back in a slightly different place to balance with the 109. So, and also, you remember this this big sheet of cloud down here that I was going to keep no matter what, and so on and so on. Well, I've changed my mind, because this yellow cowling was the same tone as this blue. So I needed cloud behind it to make it stand out. Therefore, with cloud there, that looked wrong. So I've dropped this down here a little bit. So it's kind of evolving as it goes, really. But what I thought I'd show you now is I'm at the stage now where I need to decide where the light is. So what I'm going to do is just add the impression of light on both aeroplanes, just very roughly. And you'll see the difference it makes. And originally I wanted to have the light very low, but this is going to be 15th September probably, and most of the action took place in the early afternoon, nothing really late. So originally I wanted the shadow, the 109 being lit underneath, so that the shadow would come up here, but actually I think it's going to have to be lit from slightly above. So what I'm going to do, very roughly, is just put an impression of light on the fuselage. Now that might look like I'm painting out the fuselage, but it's just to give a sheen to it, and so it's kind of something like that, and it'll extend onto here as well. And the same with the Spitfire, but this will be on the nose, because obviously it's facing the sun. So a bit of light on the nose there, and then on the wings, just the sunlight needs to be glinting off the wings. The sunlight, I might make the sun quite powerful on these wings, because, you know, there's nothing quite like sunlight just glinting off wings. It's a really nice effect. So it'll be something like that. This wing will probably get it more, I think, and then this one slightly less so. But that's the kind of effect. It'll be, he's flying towards the sun really, so that's going to have to be at the leading edge as well. So roughly like that, just to give me an impression of how the light will work. And same there. Okay, There we go. And what I'll do then is I need to just add a little impression of a shadow underneath the tail plane, which will be roughly very small shadow, possibly, I don't know, to about there, roughly like that. And the strut will be casting a shadow, I don't know, something like that. I'll work these out. But okay, so that's roughly a bit of light going on, and the light will be slightly behind, so possibly a bit more on here. But anyway, I'll work it out. It just gives that the impression of light. Right. Okay. So that's where we are at the moment, and what I'll do now is to continue to work on the light. I think I'm going to drop a few more aeroplanes in at this point as well. To be honest, I've got to work on everything. The whole canvas needs work. Clouds need work. Aeroplanes need work. Yeah, we're in the middle bit now, which is the lot of work section. The fun bit is more or less over. The playing with the light and everything, and now I've just got to start really doing the hours. So in the next week it's going to be a lot of long hours, I think, but it's getting there. I'm still liking it, which is good. So yeah, let's see where it goes. Okay, first minor crisis with the painting now. The cloud is not really working very well in terms of it looks a bit obviously behind the Messerschmitt. So what I'm going to have to do is to rework the cloud a little bit to try and make it sit a bit more naturally. I think I'm going to bring in flatter layers, get rid of this this lump here. That'll give us more impression of altitude, and then lay some flatter layers across on this side and possibly over there, and that should improve it. We'll see. We're now back up to date. So what's left to do? Okay, a lot really. First of all, obviously I've got to detail all of the aeroplanes. I've just started to work on the detail of the main 109. I've chosen Hans von Hahn's 109 from JG3 because I wanted a colourful 109, and his was one of the most colourful of the battle really. So I've started to put his markings on. Obviously all the other aircraft need to be detailed. There's going to be a bomber formation down here somewhere, probably a few more vapour trails, a bit of detail up in the sky, and yeah, a bit more messing about really with the clouds and everything. So a lot of work, but it's coming together. What I also need to do, these aircraft, they're all sort of just placed on at the moment, almost like they're stuck on, and the trick is going to be to make them blend in rather than looking as if they're just stuck on the surface. You know, they need to blend in. So plenty of work to do, but it's yeah, I'm still enjoying it at the moment, which is unusual for one of my paintings. So what I'll do, this needs to be finished in about the next 10 days, so I'll post another couple of updates probably as we go, and look forward to seeing the final result. All being well. So yeah, keep watching.